All right, shalom, 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 y'all. Shalom, just coming on here. Giving a quick update video. As you can see by the title, the House passed a bill um, authorizing the automatic registration of men for a draft. Um, it passed the House. It's going to be going to the Senate here soon for that. But what I want to do um, in this video here, because I noticed uh, when I've been watching the news, I noticed they're not covering what is going on in Europe pertaining to Ukraine and Russia. Um, they're not really talking about what's going on over there with China and Taiwan. So what I want to do is just kind of bring everybody up to date on what's going on, because I mean things are heating up, and things have been going for, the best way to say it is things are it's like they're picking teams for World War III, and things have just been on a steady path towards a major war, and what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna show y'all some things on there, and then looking at now the for all the military branches except the Marines, the recruitment numbers are down in a major way. The only reason why the Marines numbers are not down is because they lowered their numbers. They lowered the amount of Marines that they required. Um, but they're down. I've heard about it in the past in the news and stuff like that, and I'm just watching a lot of things on a large level, and man, things are culminating, and you can see things shaping up, and you know it's not gonna go good for this country here. When you look at what's coming down the pipe. So they what they proposed was a bill, and they're trying to push it through. So you need to watch this closely. But they're proposing this bill where the men will be automatically registered for the draft, and if they don't go, it's a felony. So I mean, these people are crazy, and like I said, this thing is something to watch closely, because they know they know they watching. Like, I've been watching this thing going on with Russia. I'm gonna put some of these news articles up here of some of the things I've been checking out. And then what they're also doing is proposing it says woman registrations proposed. So they want to require women to register too, because their numbers are really down. This new generation, they got the creator economy, all these people becoming YouTube millionaires, social media millionaires, and they're not into the typical stuff that society was into. You know, they have way better options than the military. So, and the way this new generation has been conditioned by this society, they're not into anything that requires discipline and all that stuff like that. It's just the military doesn't have the same, um, I guess, attractiveness as it's had in the past. Because people are highly informed. They're they're on social media, and they can think independently. Like back when World War II happened, the only media that those people were getting were the movies. Like, you go to it looked like, from what I've seen, they go to a movie theater, and they watch a movie of what was going on, and of course, and listen to the radio. So it was highly controlled, and people were thoroughly brainwashed. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people went over there and lost their lives. Um, so let me show you some of the articles and that I've been seeing, just to show you what's going on out there, and so you can have a good perspective of exactly what's going on. Because like I said, they're trying to push this thing through, automatic registrations and all this. I mean, it don't make no sense. So if you're automatically registered for it, I don't think there is any conscientious objection, Let's see, video. And this is the other thing. If they, the way things are now, again, how informed people are so informed now in this day and age. There'd be so many objections, and it just it wouldn't make sense. So let's and also, and I'm gonna show you we're gonna read a Bible verse in Second Esdras about there being seditions, and you could only imagine with how informed people are with social media. In fact, social media, the regular conventional news, like these major news networks that they've typically used to control people and control what they think, they have lost their effectiveness. You know what I'm saying? Everybody goes to social media for their news, and more people are going to independent news sources than as opposed to the mainstream news, because they can see the BS in it. You know what I'm saying? So people are more informed. So they try to impose a draft. It could turn into seditions, to anarchy, to civil unrest, because people just ain't. They don't have the and y'all will have to help me with the word, sense of nationalism, like a sense of being about their country and all that stuff. People ain't like that no more. They like, a lot of people they just locked into what they're getting off social media. It's like, and people are thinking on their own with the information that's given to us. They're not spoon-fed information from one or two controlled sources anymore. Like I said, it's independent. So that's a big thing to really watch closely and keep in mind. All right, so we're going to build this up a little bit. NATO, I put up here, NATO versus BRICS. BRICS is this basically these group of countries that have come together. Now it's financially based, business based primarily, but when you really look at it for what it's worth, you look at the countries that are in BRICS, they're going to be, that is Russia, China, and it's going to be countries that are enemies of the U.S. And what happened recently, a lot of y'all might already know, is you see here, make this smaller. So there we go. It's Saudi Arabia ditches U.S. dollar, will settle oil payments in the yuan euro. Okay? And what they're saying is Saudi is talking about joining BRICS. Okay? So there's a lot of stuff when you look economically, I guess you call it geoeconomically or something like that, globally, economic things are changing, and the U.S. is slowly losing its dominance economically out there. Now, and I do say slowly. It's not happening as fast as you might think, but it is slowly losing its dominance. The dollar is slowly becoming more and more devalued. That's why you see prices going out the roof. I was talking to a brother today. He's telling me about the trucking industry and how the prices for everything are like out of this world, but what they're paying, these trucking companies to do their work is like the same prices they were paying, I guess, like 20 years ago or something like that. So you can see inflation beginning to take hold. Let's get into what's really going on here, though. And we're going to start with Russia, Ukraine, and the U.S. And this article says the U.S. has supplied Ukraine with over 4 million shells, as well as tanks and helicopters of Russian origin. The U.S. has sent more than $50 billion worth of military aid to Ukraine, said the State Department. So this is one of the things happening, but the big thing that has happened that's really heating this whole thing up, and it's a proxy war where basically we're fighting Russia through Ukraine. But we sent weapons over there, short range weapons or whatever, so that Ukraine can strike into Russia, so they can fire missiles or whatever weapons they send over there, and they can hit Russia. And now Vladimir Putin came, and he keeps saying, hey, y'all keep messing around. One of the things he said, I'm going to hit one of these NATO countries that border me, since y'all, if these weapons y'all sending, if y'all hit like some city or some place in Russia, if that's what he's saying, if some place over there gets hit outside, because what we're saying is those weapons we send over there are just to hit Russian assets that are near the border or whatever. So like Russian tanks, stuff like that. But with Putin saying, if one of them missiles or something hit some Russian city or something, he said it's on, and it will escalate within hours, you know what I'm saying, to something crazy. And so because we're sending weapons and assets over there, and we're getting, in a nutshell, what we did is got involved in that war one step further. Well, this is what he's doing, okay? And like I said, what we're doing, when you hear people talk about it, they call it poking the bear, poking the Russian bear. But this is what they did, okay? So let me put this up here, and we'll read it. Okay. See if I can make it bigger so y'all can see it a little clearer. It says Russian warships in Cuba are no threat, U.S. says. So U.S. officials have played down Wednesday's arrival of 4 Russian naval vessels in Cuba for military drills. And he said if y'all put weapons over there in Ukraine, I'm going to put weapons in Cuba. That's what he said. That's why them ships are over there. They got a submarine over there. They had those ships were sailing off the coast of Florida, 30 miles off the coast of Florida. So things are real. Like dudes is flexing. You know what I'm saying? Folks is flexing. Okay? So look at this. All right, let me see. So then, check this out. NATO to hold biggest drills since Cold War with 90,000 troops. So they're going to be holding over there in Europe a big drill. It says NATO is launching its largest exercise since the Cold War rehearsing how U.S. troops could reinforce European allies in countries bordering Russia and on the alliance's eastern flank if a conflict were to flare up with a near peer or adversary. So you see what I'm saying? And in a way, it's flexing, but in a way, you also, folks, is putting pieces in place for, potentially World War III. And a lot of people have said this. I agree with it. I think when we look back in history at this, what we're gonna find is that we're already in World War III. We're already in it. It started with the invasion of Ukraine. Okay? So now check this out. Okay? Check this one out. Make it a little, see. No, that didn't make it bigger, huh? Okay, it says Russian warships near Florida coast armed with hypersonic missiles. Okay, and for those of you who don't know, hypersonic, you got supersonic. Supersonic is the speed of sound, which is about, depending on the temperature and the density of the air, the speed of sound is anywhere between, I think, like 600 and 700 miles an hour or something like that. Don't quote me on it, but I know I'm pretty close. Hypersonic missiles travel way faster than that, thousands of miles an hour. I think like 4,000 miles an hour, 6,000 miles an hour, something like that. Some insane speed, okay? And right now, we don't have any type of defense against them. A lot of the radars can't even track them, to lock onto them, to do anything about them. Okay? So, you see what I'm saying? Folks is picking teams for World War III, and if this was a basketball game, I was on the court getting stretched out, getting warmed up for the game. That's what this is looking like. Okay? Okay. Look at this. It says China and the U.S. are numb to the real risk of war. The pair are dangerously close to the edge of nuclear war over Taiwan again. Okay, and if y'all are not up to date on what's going on over there, China wants to take Taiwan back. And if you look at what they're doing, what China has been doing is sitting over there, running all these exercises, flying planes near Taiwan, doing all this stuff, training for a Taiwan invasion. And that Taiwan is one of the U.S.'s straight up allies, and the U.S. stance, if they invade or try to attack or invade Taiwan, we are fully getting involved. That's the U.S. stance on that thing. And some of y'all might ask, well, why? Have you seen Taiwan? It's a little island, kind of, and China is this big old thing. Well, this is the significance of Taiwan. Taiwan dominates, or I'll just read the article. Taiwan's dominance of the chip industry makes it more important. No industry matters more to Taiwan than chip making. It says they are the chips that power everything from mobile phones to electric cars, and they make up 15% of Taiwan's GDP. Taiwan produces over, listen to this, 60% of the world's semiconductors and over 90% of the most advanced ones. Okay? That's Taiwan. And 60% of the world's semiconductors. And I read something else in there, and they were trying to put it in perspective. Saudi Arabia produces 40% of the world's oil. So anything happens with that, it's going to have, like, any type of conflict or war, or anything that happens over there with Taiwan is going to have economic ramifications. It's gonna have ramifications that you just couldn't imagine. You know, it's gonna affect everything. Prices on stuff gonna go up because there ain't no chips. You know, it's gonna be a big deal. Let me see what else I got on that. So yeah, so needless to say, what's going on over there is a lot of flexing. Like China, and I mean China bold, man. They'll go, like, you can pull up articles of all the encounters with China in the ocean and the threats they're making, and like Xi Jinping, that's the president of China over there. Like, he done said some very strong words. He said something to the extent of, hey, U.S. better back off, and hey, we're going to use force, and just big talking. And hey, if you look at the way China been moving over the last couple of years, they could back it up. You know? Now, can they... And so this is the other thing. Because a war over there with China, that war would take place for us on the ocean. And all China got to do is send out their airplanes or whatever, boats or whatever. I mean, that's right there off their coast. Us, we out there in the middle of the Atlantic in ships. That is going to be an insanely expensive war. You know what I'm saying? Insanely. And it's going to require a lot of people. And this is why, again, you see them. You see them trying to push bills through. Why would they be trying to push a bill through for an automatic draft, automatic registration for a draft of men 18 to 26? Automatic. And if you don't, you get a felony? It's like, are you kidding? Do you know what that's going to cost? Check this out. Because look, y'all know, y'all have seen me in the past. For those of you who've followed me for a while, I do an extensive breakdown on biblical prophecy now. So literally, what is next in the prophetic timeline? Is right there, and a good place to look at literally what is the next thing that's going to occur in the prophetic timeline of what the word says. From what I've researched thus far, you look no further than 2nd Ezra chapter 15. And what we're going to do, we're going to read it. We're going to read through this a little bit. Okay? It says, behold, speak. Let me skip ahead a little bit. Okay, we'll just start from the top. So check this out. Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy, which I will put in thy mouth, saith the Lord, and cause them to be written on paper, for they are faithful and true. It says, fear not the imaginations against thee, let not the incredulity of them trouble thee that speak against thee. For all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness. Behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world. Yeah, plagues upon it. We already got one that hit. Okay, he doesn't say how fast, but whether it takes place over the course of years. Like I think when you look at the story of Moses, like that took place over the course of like 40 years. Like all those curses and all that stuff that happened until they were released. So it says, "Behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world. The sword." What's the sword? Somebody in the comments, man, somebody put in there, what is the sword? What is that? Okay? The sword, somebody's going to write it in there. The sword is war. Okay? It says famine, death, and destruction. Okay? And if you like me, I'm like a techie. I used to be in the Air Force. So I like to really stay informed about the weapon systems and all that stuff. And y'all, they got some crazy stuff. You know what I'm saying? The newest weapon, or one of the new weapons popping on the battlefield that they're really implementing in a major way, are the little drones, using them to drop hand grenades or suicide drones where they blow up and stuff like that. And the army is forming a whole drone squadron, so it says, for wickedness have exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled. Therefore, saith the Lord, I will hold my tongue no more as touching their wickedness, which they profanely commit. Neither will I suffer them in those things in which they wickedly exercise themselves. Behold, the innocent and righteous blood crieth unto me, and the souls of the just complain continually. And y'all, you gotta really understand how wicked things are getting. A major thing that's going on is like this whole alien thing, David Grush. In fact, they're getting ready to have another Senate hearing, and it's pretty much a done deal. They're saying, and if you listen to David Grush, if you listen to him talk, he's trying to tell you everything. He always makes sure he corrects people on saying, no, they're not interstellar beings. It'd be better to describe them as interdimensional beings. Like, he makes sure he corrects them. And like, I'll be doing a show on that soon. But look, he's trying to, man, these things are coming from, he's saying another dimension. These things are coming from the spirit world. The government been dealing with the spirit world. They've been directly dealing with Satan. That's a lot of these countries, probably all of them. And then it says, the innocent and righteous blood crieth unto me, and the souls of the just complain continually. Think about all the innocent that they killed with abortions, their sacrifice. Come on, man. Like, I'll just need to do a show to show y'all how wicked this thing really is. Okay? So we're going to go to 9. And therefore, saith the Lord, I will surely avenge them and receive unto me all the innocent blood from among them. Behold, listen, my people. Now listen what he's saying. Is end time prophecy, y'all. Behold, my people is led as a flock to the slaughter. And if you look, you know who his people are. You know who fits the curses of Deuteronomy and of this word. You know who was scattered all over the earth. You know that group of people who have no culture. Okay, they don't know. They have no history. They don't know who the hell they are, and they glory in their shame with hip hop, glorying in your shame, proud of being in a ghetto, in jail, in impoverished conditions, and you make a music glorying about it that goes global, glorying in your shame. It says, but he says, my flock, he says, my people is led as a flock to the slaughter. I will not suffer them now to dwell in the land of Egypt, but I will bring them with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm and smite Egypt with plagues. Listen, because I know a lot of y'all are like, see, that's talking about Egypt. But look, as before, and will destroy all the land thereof. Egypt shall mourn, and the foundation of it shall be smitten with the plague and punishment that God shall bring upon it. Okay? And we could keep reading. I'm going to skip forward a little bit because it's going to go, woe to the world and then them that dwell therein. And when it says woe to the world and them that dwell in, a lot of people like, see, he going to come for everybody. He not coming for his people. That woe ain't to his people. That woe is to the world, all these wicked nations, all these people who join themselves to the cultures of these wicked nations. Because he tells you to come out from among them. Be ye separate, be set apart. So all these people who join themselves to these wicked beast system nation cultures, they live in, as in Babylon, do what the Babylon, or as in Rome, do what the Romans do, or whatever. This Greco-Roman beast system, these European cultures and all the cultures of this world. If you don't live the Bible culture, live according to this word, you're like, if you live according to the Bible culture, you are his, okay? But if you live in according to these nations out here, then you one of them. And you're gonna get that business. But look what it says, because this is the key part. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh. So it's saying, for war and destruction draweth nigh. And one people shall stand up and fight against another. Is that not what I've been showing y'all with these news clips and what's going on with some of these countries? Okay. And swords in their hands. It says, for there shall be seditions among men. So seditions are uprisings. Like you got this silent majority that's following Trump, and they hardcore Trump. And then you got the far left and you got the far right. And when you listen to them, it's like they're almost ready for civil war. And what might be the spark to something like that? An automatic draft registration with the promise of a felony if you don't go. That might be the catalyst to something crazy. But when it says, for there shall be sedition among men and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able to. For because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. And you could go on and read that. Like I said, you should just go and read 2nd Ezra chapter 15. Just go reading in its entirety. Because what that is what the next step in the prophetic timeline is: war, seditions, and plagues. And what did the Most High tell us to do? What does the word tell us to do? To come out from among them, be ye separate, so you don't get caught by their plagues. And I'm paraphrasing it, but that's what it says. So you don't get caught in the punishment. It's like you hear people talk about like when your mother or your father something is whooping your brother, you don't want to be around in that area. You might catch some of it. You know what I'm saying? Well, it's the same here. But we need to, this thing is real. Like it's unfolding slowly. But we need to snap out of this religiosity, mental ascension of obedience mindset that a lot of people are in, and they think they're obedient to the Most High and they're serving Him, but they're just doing it in their mind. They're not actually doing it with fruit and making the actual moves. You know what I'm saying? He says, there's another verse that says, gather yourselves together, O nation not desired. And it talks about as you see the day approaching, So you can see the day approaching. Are you gathering yourselves together? Oh, yeah. We have Shabbat each Saturday, and we come together. And then we go back home. No, it's telling you, gather yourself together, O nation. What does it look like when a nation comes together? Are they just meeting on the weekend? One day on the weekend? Or are they actually coming together economically, spiritually, mentally, socially? In every way, are they coming together? What does it look like? Well, what I would say is look no further than what you see us doing here at Straightway. Because we're coming together because we know we're a nation not desired. And you can see it's high time to come out from among these people out here. You see the sin. You just see the moral, what's the word, decay going on. All right, let's see what y'all are writing about in here. Somebody said, Yah's keeping the deception until after the election. All right, they were telling me patriotism. That was the word I was looking for, being patriotic. Okay, some brothers posted that in there. And when I talk about people aren't patriotic anymore, not where they're willing to go out and die for this country like that. Somebody said, I think I'm late to the show. Shalom, shalom. All right. You can watch it over. Yeah, somebody said Ukraine, Israel, Taiwan, a war on 3 fronts. The fall of Babylon. Yeah. The fall of these European nations. That's where it's going to be going down at. That have dominated the world for years. Somebody talked about kinetic weapons. I think you're talking about the weapons. It's just a projectile that's moving fast. Yeah. And it literally has no gunpowder in it or no explosives in it. Just the sheer speed of that mass accelerating. It's moving so fast. Its mass increases, and when it hits something, that energy transfer is like it's an explosion. Boom. Okay. Somebody said, Shalom, Brother Michael. Do you think men don't have a birth certificate and social security number are exempt? Yeah, your social security number is how they register you. So yeah, that's how they. If you don't have one, you off the grid. You in the clear. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's part of coming out from among them. Keep it 100. Now me, hey, look, it's a little different. I done served my time. You know, did over 20 years. I even served my I forget what the term is, my callback time, where they could call me back in. I did that time too. But I heard they're still calling folks back in to train and to help out in some way or whatever. I heard they're calling people back, you know. I've heard people talk about being a conscientious objector. And what they probably going to do, okay, you be a conscientious objector, but we're going to give you this felony. And that shows you they know the destruction of having a felony. Like, they get it. That's why they would propose something like that. And it's funny because, you know, what would happen, you get caught by get a speeding ticket or whatever. Let me get your ID. Okay. Why aren't you registered with the drive? You know, you're 18 or 26. You know, why aren't you registered? Blah, blah, blah. You know. So, yeah, man. I would watch that closely and really, you know, yeah. Because, you know, this thing, man, look, China, if you listen to Xi Jinping as China's president, that dude ain't playing around. Dude, I watched this thing of Chinese Marines or Chinese Special Forces, them training with, like, literally, like, they're up in their country right now. Like, they don't allow men to be feminine over there. Like, they've actually put policies in place where you can't be feminine. Like, if somebody online doing some feminine junk, they block they junk. You know, they're pushing a masculine agenda. Like, they've actually stated that they are pushing a masculine agenda there. The app TikTok was originally made in China, and the purpose of that app was for education, so you can learn real effectively, efficiently. It was an educational app designed to really help people learn and develop and learn stuff in a very efficient way. And real talk, that's how I use the app. I tweak the algorithm so it only sends me the stuff I want to see. And so when I want to go on there, if I want to learn something quick, I just go to TikTok and just scan through them little short videos, boom. And you got somebody telling you something different ways and you learn. You see what I'm saying? So that's what China did over there. You know, that's why it came out. And they exported it over here as a psyop, as a psychological, it's not a psyop, a psychological weapon to make people over here stupid. And shoot. And it does a great job of that. You know what I'm saying? But they're not playing though. They not. Hey, they've been around for thousands of years. That country over there, and they've been around that long for a reason. And I'm telling you, man, they stumping. They coming on hard. They ain't playing around. And Putin been not playing around. Putin been not playing. You know, and he's. If you listen to all Putin's speeches and just read the translation of what he's saying, because they want to spin it like he's some tyrant and he's some crazy person, and he's not. What we be trying to do is like poke him, and America wants to get him to react and do something so that they could take him out and then install somebody over there so that they're not a rival to us anymore. So we've been doing stuff to agitate him and everything like that. Like if you look at why he invaded Ukraine, because he knew the U.S. was getting ready to flip them over to being part of NATO, and then immediately they were going to put weapons in that country. So you got to really look at, like, listen to both sides, and then you get a clear picture. You know, I mean, look at what happened with. I was watching this thing about us when we attacked Iraq. Nobody knew why we were doing it. They, you know, but it's like, dude, this country, look, them people over there, they call it the U.S. the Great Satan. A lot of people don't see it. Something good to watch is Confessions of an Economic Hitman, where he breaks down how our country, you know, gets control of other countries for whatever reason, natural resources, whatever, strategic purposes. Yeah, man, it's a dirty game. But my recommendation, watch this stuff closely. Come out from among them. Be separate. I'm telling you, man, actually read that word and do what it says. And because what you're going to also see in the coming years, a lot of these people out here, probably 99% of what's being taught out there is a bunch of, and when I say being taught out there, from about the Bible, 90% of what these people teach about the Bible ain't what the Bible says. And what a lot of these people do is teach you how to not do what the Bible says. But people going to be forced to consider what the Bible's really saying and doing it, because you ain't going to really have any other options. I mean, you know, pastors have been telling people get their children out of the public school system, but look how crazy the public school system is now. You know, you got kooks, freaks, weirdos, transformers, Autobots, Decepticons, and all types of weird crap running around. You know, you can't make it up. But yeah, so you want to watch all these things closely. You want to watch this thing with the draft, and again, they're also trying to push drafting women also, so you need to watch that closely. Watch this thing with China, watch this thing with the Ukraine and Russia going on, watch what's going on over there in Israel. Just watch it all closely, you know, because I'm telling you, it's that time. But anyway, with that said, appreciate all y'all tuning in. I'm Michael Israel. Definitely subscribe to my channel, and shalom, shalom.